Welcome back, fellow milk drinkers, to another Monday Milk Review. My name is Jacob, and today we've got a bit of special episode. Today we're going to be looking at 4 different flavored milks, all in the one episode. I know, crazy. Whoever thought technology could reach such heights? If you were one of those unlucky few who aren't yet following me on Instagram, please check me out because I'm often going to be posting polls and just questions on the content that I make for the Monday Milk Review. Plus, also, it helps me just get the word out when a new episode is released. You might be wondering, what are we looking at today? That's a good question, but I'll first premise this saying all of these entries are below $2, found at either Woolies or Coles, and I believe are centered to be sold to kids. There's one of them which I don't believe is typically meant to be interpreted as a marketed for kids drink, but we'll get to that one later. The first entry we have is by Norco, and it's packaged Mighty Cool. So I assume that's what they want to call this item. It's Norco Mighty Cool. I'm actually quite interested in this one as Norco is my favorite brand of normal chocolate milk. The real iced chocolate is my #1 recommendation for any chocolate lover out there. Our next entry is by Paul's. It's Paul's Milky Max. Paul's is also known for their Zimmel range. Zimmel, I think, is the best lactose-free option on the market. So I'm really interested into how this one's going to compare to something like Zimmel's. The next one is Breaker. Breaker isn't actually a marketed for kids item. This is also the only option that's at a higher volume than the rest. The rest are 250 milliliters. This one's 50 milliliters. It also sports, I think, nearly double the fat and sugars as compared to the rest. I'll do some breakdowns later of their actual nutritional charts. Is that the word? Yeah, I think they're called nutritional charts. I don't know. And the very lucky last is a generic Woolies brand chocolate flavored milk. I've been looking at the statistics on the back. It doesn't match any of the other competitors, so this might actually be a 4th competitor. I had a feeling it was going to be one of those 3 in disguise, but I think this might be something totally different. It's going to be interesting to see how this compares to the rest of them. So you may be wondering why the outfit changed. That's because the poll results came in and I was so upset with everyone I had to take a day off just to collect my thoughts so I could talk about the poll. Now, the results were more than disappointing. I obviously have not been using propaganda effectively enough to convince you all that Norco is the best brand, and that really shows in the results. The results in order from top to bottom. First coming in was Breaker with 11 votes, which is quite a lot. I was really surprised by that. Coming in at second was Paul's Milky Max. I was not really so surprised by this, but I had a feeling it was going to do well. 7 votes is pretty decent. Third place was the Woolworths generic chocolate, 5 votes. I'm kind of surprised this placed so highly. Let's talk about last place. Now, I don't know how this happened. Norco in last place, 5 votes. Technically, this only has 3. 2 of those were from my friends who I was talking to last night, and I was so shocked by the results. So shout out to Matt and Joe. I mean, your friendship is validated, but your votes do not count in this instance. But shout out to the rest of the people who obviously pay attention to my content and know that I'm always ranting about Norco. And for those who voted Breaker, I'm afraid there's only one solution. Which includes you, Michael. We work together. Michael, how did you vote Breaker? We worked together. I would have told you about Norco nearly every day. Did you do this to annoy me? It worked. Thanks, Michael. But in all seriousness, thank you for the votes. I know it was basically a random guess. The data was just more so interesting rather than useful. This right here is a 1d4. It's a 4-sided die. I'm going to line these up and just roll, and we'll figure out what we're trying first based on the die. Lined up, we've got Woolworths entry at #1, Breaker #2, Norco #3, and Paul's #4. Let's roll the die. And we rolled a 4, so up first is going to be Paul's Milky Max. Now, when I first got these, I saw that they all had like things at the top to be drunk from. I don't know if I want to use that, to be honest. Can I just do this? Well, yeah, that's gonna create a mess. I better be careful doing that. All right, well, that's kind of worked. Yikes. Ooh, that smells very chocolatey. It smells quite a lot like a paddle pop, a chocolate paddle pop ice cream. It smells tasty. The color is quite dark, so I have a good feeling that this is going to be quite rich in flavor. It's a pretty good entry. Paul's is pretty good. The Zimmels range is really quite nice. So I think this one's going to be pretty good. Let's give it a try. Okay, it's very rich in flavor, quite creamy. I would say that's a quite solid chocolate milk. It's pretty tasty. This one is also quite well balanced in terms of its health benefits. So I would say this is like perfect for a snack. I think anyone could enjoy this milk. I'm gonna rate this one 7.5 out of 10. Next is number 3, which I have put these down weirdly, but I'm assuming that was Norco Mighty Cool. Let's get into it. I'm gonna open these just at the top because I feel like that's a safer option. Ooh. Now that it's poured out, I can see that it looks a little bit lighter in terms of color tone compared to Paul's, but I'll see how that impacts its flavor. Okay, that one is way more chocolatey. Oh, I just noticed. Norco also has a 4.5 health star. I thought only Woolies did, but this one definitely tops Paul's by a significant margin. It is so much more chocolatey and it actually tastes of real chocolate. It reminds me quite a lot of like chocolate from a Cadbury bar. I can't really describe what was wrong with Paul's. It was still quite nice. However, Norco again is very strong contender. That's a really good chocolate milk. I think if I was rating this maybe has to be 8.5 to 9. I'm gonna put it at a 9, where 10 is probably on par with Norco Real Ice Chocolate. Okay, so we have 2 entries left. It's Breaker and Woolies, and let's roll for them. I knew that was gonna happen. Where'd it go? Oh, there it fell right next to me. It's a 1. That means it's Breaker. Let's get into it. I've never actually reviewed Breaker chocolate in my Monday Milk Review series. I've looked at a few of their other entries, however never chocolate. So I'm kind of curious. I haven't had a Breaker in years, so we'll see. Now just remembering, this is the least healthy option of the quad. It's also 300 milliliters. In terms of price per liter, this is probably your best deal. I'm not too sure, it depends on what's on sale. Now, I'm going to backtrack on a statement. I think Paul's is definitely the darkest so far. Norco is maybe a tone below it, like barely a difference at all. This one is probably quite a few shades lighter. This one compared to those two is definitely quite different. But in the end, color doesn't matter. It's not important. It's all about the content. Okay, so Breaker kind of tastes like how I remember. It's definitely not a bad drink, and if you prefer Breaker, there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, it just has a slightly artificial chocolate syrup taste. If you like that, I have nothing against that whatsoever. I actually prefer maple flavored syrup over maple syrup. I don't like dry pancakes. Maple syrup is way too strong for me. It's sort of just a matter of taste. If you prefer that artificial flavor, by all means, continue supporting Breaker. It's not bad, but it's definitely not my preferred. I would give this a 6 out of 10. It's good, but it's definitely not what I buy for. And we have the very last entry. It is Woolies flavored chocolate milk. I didn't smell anything from that. Most of these have a scent. This almost doesn't have a scent. That is really dark in color. Wow. That is unexpected. Did not expect that to be so different compared to the rest. That one is darker than Paul's. It's possibly only a few shades darker, but I was expecting this one to be really light because it's in a white bottle. Potential of being really rich. Let's hope. I'd like to be surprised. No. No. To me, if you were going for really reduced sugar diet and that somehow fit into that, this might be a good substitute because it doesn't taste too sweet. But this doesn't taste like chocolate either. This is pointless. I'm upset. I'm mad. I'm not mad. But this one really kind of doesn't even taste like chocolate milk. It's kind of bland and uninteresting. If you have any choice, go with Paul's or Norco. Norco is my number one. But Woolies, that's not good. If you were drinking these for health benefits alone and in some way, Woolies won out overall. I mean, I can kind of understand why you'd want to drink it, but personally, its flavor's just not there and it's not really worth your time. So I'm gonna say I cannot recommend Woolies. It's probably, as a rating, only 4 or 5 out of 10. It's not terrible. It's just not good. It's really average, kind of boring. Doesn't taste bad, just boring. What are the results? What's the recap? Let's go back over it. So in number 1, I'm gonna have to say it's Norco. I think this one's an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. Followed very closely behind Paul's Milky Max. That one I think maybe deserves a 6.5 to 7 to maybe an 8. Maybe let's go 7.5. I can't remember what I said before. Yeah, coming in at 3rd is Breaker. It's not bad, it's just not exactly what I like. Very artificial flavored. This one's maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10. Really middle ground, it's not terrible, just not chocolatey. It's artificial flavored. And it dead last is the Woolies generic brand flavored chocolate milk. Realistically, I have to give this a 3 or 4 out of 10. It's just not good. It's uninteresting and it doesn't really suit any need. If Norco is really close in health benefits to the supposedly highest, healthiest choice, which I don't know if is true, I didn't have enough time to study these and commit them to memory, go with Norco. Norco's a real winner, and maybe it's personal bias. I don't know. I would have liked to do these in a blind test scenario, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So to cap it off, go with Norco. Mighty cool. It's really good. Honestly, I could see myself drinking it again if I ever needed such a small serving. I'd like to compare this to its full-sized real iced chocolate and see its difference in health statistics, because if you were trying to get on a bit of a diet, this would be a really great substitute if you like chocolate milk. It's really good, and it apparently is quite healthy. And that about wraps up everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. I spent a crazy amount of time making this video. Like literally, I've spent possibly in the vicinity of about 12 hours on this video, including all my setup to filming and just the entire process. This takes a really long time to make, so please, maybe give it a like. Please subscribe or share it with a friend. Help me get this video out here. For those of my subscribers who also watch my gel ball content, when I used to make gel ball content, I'll be making a video reviewing the new APS Shark. Now let's give full auto a try very soon, so stay tuned for that. But that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I'll see you next week in the Monday Milk Review. Bye bye.
You think about that, huh?